Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at Zoroark with the new Zekrom. This is a deck I've been meaning to look at, and obviously with the whole Joe taking a week off and unable to get anything done due to being poorly, I figured, well, why not drop this in the week, and hopefully this will be a pretty good deck to take a look at. So as per usual, in the description below there's going to be usual links to the deck list, which is also available to copy in the description below. There's the games that we'll play, and of course the outro and what I think of the deck. So of course today we're going to be playing Zekrom with the new, Zoroark I should say, with the new Zekrom. And this does provide a huge damage buff to, Zoroark in general. Obviously we do have two attacks on this guy, so we have Shred for 70, which is good for dealing with things like Mimikyu. And I would say Crustle, but you don't really want to be swinging for 70 on a Crustle, and you probably just scoop and go to a game 2. Well, you just scoop and just leave Crustle alone. But the second attack is why we're here, Rampaging Thunder for 250. Now, that downside of during your next turn this Pokemon can't use attacks may seem bad, but there are a few ways in which we can negate that, so don't worry about that second clause. But obviously we are playing Zoroark, which can obviously copy the benched End's Pokemon attacks, and while we're playing Pecharunt, we're playing End's Castle, so that downside of not able to use attacks is actually not that big of a deal, because as long as it moves out the active spot, it negates the debuff, so to speak. So if you manage to Pech into something that can obviously attack, you could just use that instead, and it goes from there really. You can even Pech into a Zoroark, free retreat using End's Castle into the one that has energy, and then use Rampaging Thunder again. So it provides a lot of versatility for an Zoroark deck. Obviously, I am playing a 1-1 Darmanitan line, just so we have the option to Flame Body Cannon. Very useful attack. Obviously, discard all energy from this Pokemon, and this attack also does 90 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I am playing a 1 Reversal Energy, just so I have the chance of using Darmanitan as a single prize attacker. And obviously we do have the option of Backdraft, which could be handy against certain decks like Gholdengo, you know, like if they're using a lot of energy to take out our Pokemon. Now, of course, there are a few other things that I'd want to change about this list. Obviously, I am playing a 1-1 Bunny line, but I don't know if it's just me, but this list just didn't feel right in testing. I am playing Double Pech in case we prize it, because obviously we are playing a couple of Mochi in here as well, to obviously further boost our damage with the Zekrom. But I just feel that this deck didn't feel as consistent. I wasn't finding my Zoroarks very easily, but other than that, this list has felt pretty fun to play. So let's go to the deck list and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. This is a deck list that I've actually been enjoying making, but as I said in the intro part, I don't know if it's just me, but this list has felt a bit clunky is the word I would use, and I don't think it should be, you know. Inbuilt trade, quad Lillies, 2 Iono, obviously you've got a lot of different attack options, decent energy count, you've got End's Castle to reset stuff, you've got 2 End's PP up plus an E-switch. I don't know if it's just me, but it just didn't feel right, but hopefully that changes when we go to do the video itself and all that jazz as we get further in. So obviously we are playing a 4-4 line of the Zoroark. This is a pretty standard count. I am playing Heroescape as my A-spec. Main reason for that is obviously we want to, you know, still use Powerful Rage if we can, but also Zoroark does struggle against certain matchups which, you know, can easily hit 280, and while having Heroescape plus Powerful Rage, which is why we're playing a 1-off Reshiram, is something that we'd like to have as an option, you know, like there is plenty of options for it. Now obviously I know N canonically didn't have a Kyurem, but could you imagine if there was a tool card or something that made a Pokemon, you know, an End's Pokemon? Like, that would be ridiculous, but at the same time, it would be quite funny. So obviously we played the 4-4 line of the Zoroarks, 2 Pecharunts, 2 Munkidoris, 2 Zekrom, 1 Buneary, 1 Mega Lopunny EX. Obviously we can use this with the Dark Energy or even the Reversal Energy. And thanks to Pech, we can obviously reset this, which is also really nice. Obviously, we have the 1-1 line of the End's Darmanitan as well. 1 End's Reshiram, 1 Fez, and 1 Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. Then, of course, we have 4 Lillies, 2 Iono, 2 Boss, 1 Turo, 1 Cyrano, 1 Black Belt's Training for just a little bit more damage buff. 4 Poffin, 2 Ends PP up, 2 Super Rod, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Ultra Ball, 1 Energy Switch, 1 Nest Ball, 1 Night Stretcher, 1 Earthen Vessel, 2 Binding Mochi, this obviously ties into the Pecharunts, 1 Hero's Cape, and 1 Power Glass. Then of course we have 2 Ends Castle, 1 Team Rocket's Watchtower, 6 Dark Energy, and 1 Reversal Energy. Like I said, making this list has been quite fun. It's just, you know, the overall consistency that I've been having with this list has been a little bit on the lesser side for what a Zoroark list should be. But other than that, this list has felt really fun to play. I think the only things that I'd want to probably do is cut down a Rod. I don't think you need 2 Rod plus a Night Stretcher. I think that's a bit overkill. Personally, what I'd want to add in is probably a second Ultra Ball. I've not, like, missed the second Ultra Ball because I cut an Ultra Ball for a Cyrano just so we had it. You could even play 2 Cyrano, which Cyrano's a really good card in this list because obviously you find your Fez, you find your Bear, you find your Lopunny, you find your Pech, you find your Zoroarks. You know, like, there is argument to be made for that. There's also an argument to be made for Arven, but I don't know about you, but I don't think you need Arven in this list. It never felt like you needed Arven. You know, I was always finding my Power Glass, I was always finding my Mochi, I was always finding my Hero's Cape without needing Arven. So I don't think it's a case of adding Arven will solve the problem. And obviously we want to keep monkeys in the list because, you know, Dark Energy onto a monkey with E-Switch is just cracked and really gives this deck the damage buffs. And like I said, Bind a Mochi plus Black Belt plus Energy Switch onto a Munkidori, that's adding an extra 110 damage to your attack. Combine that with Zekrom doing 250 on its own, yeah, that's a lot of damage. That's 360 damage, which that's dealing with a lot of Megas right now. And originally Zoroark was quite bad into Megas, so hopefully we can get some big knockouts on a Mega today. So let's get into a match, see how we do. And welcome to our first game. This will be an interesting deck, because like I say, in testing it's been a bit shaky is the word I would use. But obviously we do have potential of hitting over, you know, Mega Pokemon, which ironically there's a Mega Lucario on that coin, but Lucario, even with a Hero's Cape, is still a bad matchup. It's not a, let's put it this way, it's not a matchup I want to be in. Do I want to go first? Probably not. Just so, you know, we have the option of going, you know, Zekrom, Pech, and all that jazz. We would need a lot to take out a thingamabob. I'll start the Buneary. We would need a lot to take out a Lucario, so I'm kind of hoping it isn't, but, well, let's see what happens. And, well, it is. At least he's started the Riolu, which, yes, it hits for fighting weakness, but they still need to play a Power Pro to actually do it. And they're immediately starting off with a Fighting Gong, and not even price check. Durant EX? Okay, sure, I can live with that going into discard pile, but why the hell are you playing this? I mean, it makes sense, because obviously you can power this up with fighting and maybe play Luminous Energy, but that... why? I don't know. Alright, so let's Buddy Poffin. We have prized 2 Zorua straight off the bat. So that's not fun. At least we've not prized any Zoroarks. We've not prized our Zekrom. We've got our Darmanitans. To be honest, the Darmanitan's not going to be very good in this matchup. Like, unless we've hit double Riolu, it's just not going to happen. Let's see. We prized no Lilies, so that's good. What about Energy? We've got a Hero's Cape as well. We've got the Reversal and the prize cards. That's fine. I can live with that. So I'll bench the Monkey and I'll go for a Lilies. I don't want to put down the Pech now, because obviously that is a 2-prize liability. I can go end Zekrom, and I think I'll just leave it at that. I can't shift this Buneary right now, and obviously we didn't get a turn attachment onto one of our Zoruas, which could be bad, but still, they're benching a Fez early, which we could capitalise on with end Zekrom. And they're just going to go straight aggression with the Mega Lucario and a fighting energy. Fair enough. I mean, if you've got the advantage to start off with, you might as well. But no, it's interesting that they're playing Durant. Like, that technically is a bad card for us to deal with. But, I mean, it makes sense if you think about it. I mean, on the plus side, we can trade away the Mega Lopunny. I was going to do that anyway, but... you know, at least now we can get rid of it, because obviously we don't really want to be playing it down in this matchup. But yeah, I am concerned about this Durant, but we can deal with this later if it comes up. They don't really have a setup right now. Can I kill this Lucario this turn? Probably not, because I'm going to have to Lillies for turn, and obviously we need Mochi plus Black Belt, and we need a Monkey Ping as well, and we don't have any damage on board. But hopefully this, you know, we can at least work with this. I could always just boss the Durant, deal with it, because obviously this could be a threat later, and deal with the Lucario later. I'm happy to do that, but I would want to find my Reshiram. And they're also taking a long time to choose their prize card, which is odd, but sure. I'll promote the Monkey. I probably should have promoted Zekrom, but it's not that big of a deal. So I'm just going to double evolve to my Zoroarks. I'm going to play the End's Castle down. And our Lillies. Can we find a Petch? Yes, we do. Obviously, Black Belt is not relevant here, but that's fine. So I'm going to start off with a trade. I'm going to get rid of probably one of the rods, because I'm not going to need both. I'll take that. So we'll go for a trade. Get rid of one of the ducks. There's Darumaka. That's not really relevant, though. But I can Ian's PP up to one of the Zoroarks. I can attach to one of the Zoroarks. I can then bind in Mochi. I'll then subjugate and chains into the Zoroark. Now we're doing 290, which is not enough. But it does mean, actually, I should have benched that Darumaka, actually. I've just realised that. I could have benched the Darumaka and then had the option to go Flame Body Cannon. Knock out this if they don't evolve this. Not a big deal, but obviously this could get ugly now that I did that. Ooh. Could be I mean, if push comes to shove, you know, we will deal with this where it required. Like, we did take a knockout, so there's a chance they don't have the fighting energy to actually hit and, you know, go Mega Brave without a Power Pro, because obviously the poison. But hopefully they kind of whiff that. They're not doing anything, which indicates to me they may not have it. Which is good for us. I should have benched this Darumaka, so I'm sure someone's going to point that out. I only realised it after I clicked to do Night Joker. Because like I said, I could go end Darumaka, evolve it into Darmanitan, knock out this, and yeah, they're just passing. I think, have they maybe disconnected? I don't know. But anyway, let's bench the Darumaka. Do I want to like attach this Dark to the Monkey? I'm not sure. I don't think I do. Then again, I do heal the Zoroark, which it doesn't hugely matter because of, you know, the damage pings from poison. Do I want to trade anything away? Not particularly. I think I just Lillies for turn and get a fresh 8. Might as well. Okay, that's pretty good, actually. Well, I'm definitely going to trade away one of them Darks, just in case we find our second PP. There's a boss, but that's not going to be too relevant. Yeah, I think I just take this out with Shred, but then again, I can't use the attack because of, thingy. Let me think. Because I can't attack this turn, can I? Because obviously I attach with Monkey. What I could do is I could retreat this into Darumaka. Or maybe Munkidori. I think it's better to do it with Munkidori because obviously I can patch back into the Zoroark. And I think I just leave it at that. I forgot to play around the Rampage of Thunder, but obviously I didn't have another attacker set up. And, well, I attached for turn for Munkidori. The reason why I did that is because it makes it a lot easier for Zoroark to hit the numbers required. Because obviously with the Binding Mochi we hit 290, plus the Black Belt is 330. So that's why I put the Munkidori ping on the Riolu. But hopefully, I think my opponent's disconnected though, which is unfortunate because I would like to have a good game. Like, you know, I'm interested as to how they're playing this. Are they playing basic grass? Are they playing luminous energy? Is there maybe a Munkidori in their list? You know, I'm not sure, but I think my opponent's just disconnected, which is kind of a shame because I would like to see more of this, you know, like what are they using to power up this Durant? Basic grass, which is unlikely. And yeah, they unfortunately disconnected. We would have obviously had the option to go Flame Body Cannon, knock out the Lucario, knock out the Riolu on the bench, and cut off their attackers. But yeah, kind of a shame my opponent disconnected there. Would have liked to have seen more from that. So let's go to a game 2. And welcome back to game 2. That was an unfortunate, I will say, win, because I would have preferred to have like played the match out, personally, in my opinion. But obviously we would have had the option to go Flame Body Cannon, which would have been really good, because they didn't seem to be really doing anything, even outside of the, you know, outside of the Mega Evolve and obviously attack. But obviously they didn't seem to have a fighting energy. Maybe that's why they disconnected. They didn't have the immediate knockout, and they're just so used to having immediate knockouts, you know? So I'm actually going to promote the Zekrom as our starter here. We're going second. Yes, we are. And we're facing Rocket Box. When I say Rocket Box, more like the Crows, which I will be doing a video on that deck at some point. I'm really enjoying it as a, you know, option. Kind of hoping we don't prize our Darmanitan then, because that'll be pretty good in this matchup. The only problem is obviously Zoroark is quite, you know, bulky with the Hero Escape, which thankfully we start with. But, you know, this could get ugly. I'm going to hold this till later. And of course they get the Proton as their start. That's fine. There's good old Proton. I love this art of the Murkrow though. It's really nice. So we're going to grab a Murkrow and 2 Porygon. The Porygon is going to be a lot easier to Flame Body Cannon. But obviously we can't Buddy Poffin for the Darumaka. Because Darumaka has 80 HP just like this Murkrow. But hopefully we can, you know, we can get started and obviously, you know, use some stuff. I'm going to get rid of Power Glass off this vessel because I can at least get a turn attachment to one of my Zoruas. Which will definitely be useful. And there's the attachment to the Murkrow. And hopefully they don't do a whole lot else. They're going to Transceiver again, interestingly enough. There's Ariana, that's fine. So that's their next turn card. I can't disrupt that unless I top deck Iono, and even then I don't think I want to use an Iono right now. And we top deck a Zorua, so I will take that. So let's Body Poffin. Do I want to grab Buneary? I don't think I do. I think I just want to grab a third Zorua. What about pricing? So we've got the Darmanitan line, we've got the Reshiram in there in case that comes up. I have my entire Zoroark line, which is going to be very useful. As for everything else, we have got a Dark Energy in the prizes, which is why I was a bit sus about playing 6, but still. We've also got a boss in the prizes. I can live with that. I can most definitely live with that. So let's Vessel, grab a couple of Darks. I'll attach to one. Do I want to Hero Escape this now? Because this could be useful later. I think I Lilies and save the Hero Escape for later. Just so I have the option for later. Well, it's staying in hand, it looks like. I can't get Darmanitan down, unfortunately. I'm going to save this Buddy Poffin as trade fodder for later. And to be honest, looking at this hand, I wish I had, you know, not played that Lilies, but we'll live with it, it's fine. If they do knock out the Zekrom, it's not the end of the world, because, you know, we can just get it back with Night Stretcher. But, still. They're going to Petrol for turn. Is their A-Spec... I was about to say, is their A-Spec potentially Hyper Aroma? Interesting, I will say. So they're going to grab 2 Haunches and a Porygon 2, probably. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. See, when you played TCG long enough, you can kind of predict these things. But, yeah. I wish I had the Lilies, let's put it that way. It's okay, though. Like, they're already taking a 1 price here, so that's fine. We can live with that. Roto Stick, that's interesting. Archer, that's not going to be relevant. At least not right now. Yeah, I kind of wish I had kept those Zoroarks in hand, because, well, right now, it's not great. They do have to discard 3, though, to knock out this Zekrom, which is actually kind of good for us. You know, because obviously they're using more of their resources, which is good for us. So I think, just so we have the retreat option, I'll promote the Zorua, because obviously we can just PP up. It's not a big deal. There's a boss. We're not really doing anything right now. That's kind of bad. Oh, Buddy Poffin, I don't think I want to thin this Buneary, because it's just such a big liability. Do I just pass here? I think I have to. Like, we can come back from this. It's just going to be very tricky. Because the whole stigma of Zoroark is obviously we want to have them not really doing a lot. And, well, fair enough, they had their own hand, well, Ariana in their hand. But, yeah, something tells me they're going to be drawing a shed load of cards. That's Pokepad. Oh, that's rough. I bet he'd have been watching Omnipoke with his quad Pokepad week. I did enjoy that series that he did, though. That was really nice. So there's Porygon Z. This is going to be our late game threat. So for those that don't know, our command does 20 times for each support card with Team Rocket in its name in the discard pile. Right now they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's doing 120 damage, that Porygon is. And with the amount of supporters this deck plays, it can hit some big numbers, and it gets close to this with a Zoroark, let's put it that way. But hopefully we can, you know, Hero Escape Zoroark and just hopefully put some pressure on. Which is kind of the idea. But so far this isn't looking very good for us. And well, there's the Rocket Feathers, they only need 2. Obviously we have PP up, so it's not a big deal that we're losing this Dark Energy. But we will gloss over that. The more supporters they use in the early game is the less threat that our Zoroark is to being one-shot by a Honchkrow. Because I don't think Porygon can get there. But that's my opinion. We are just dead drawing this entire time. Yeah, I'm just going to concede and go to a game 3. I can't do anything with this hand. I really wish I had Lillies, but at the end of the day, I don't know what I'm going to Lillies into. And, well, PTCG Live is, well, being PTCG Live. See you all in Game 3. And welcome back to Game 3. That was quite unfortunate. Obviously, we didn't really get to do anything because, you know, Lillies did absolutely nothing for us, and we got 8 cards off it. If I'd have known that my hand would have been that dead after a Lillies, I would have just kept the Zoroarks in hand. But unfortunately, Lillies decided to not play ball, but that's fine. Alright, do we want to go first? No, we don't. I mean, we can, but I don't need to worry about that. Let's see what we get. Zekrom start again. I'm not complaining about that one. We can even Vessel away a Dart, which is really nice. Oh boy. It's a Zoroark mirror. I've never done a Zoroark mirror, but it's pretty self-explanatory from what I know. Interested in playing Pokepads. I mean, it makes sense to like find your Darmakas and stuff, and your Darmanitan. Well, this is going to be interesting. So, first of all, let's bench that Munkidori. Let's Vessel away this Dark and fail it. I'm going to do a big fat Lillies. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's Buddy Poffin, grab ourselves 2 Zorua, and we'll do a prize check. So we have prized Zorua, but that's fine. We've not prized our Zoroarks, which is good. Petras are in there, Black Belt, which is technically relevant. Hero Escape's in there, that's fine. I don't want to put down this Ends Castle right now. I think I'd just pass here. I don't want to give them Castle, I'd rather use the Castle myself. It's not a big deal that we obviously didn't get a turn attachment in there. But it's fine. It's not a big deal. They're going to immediately trade away a Munkidori, which is fine. They're going to trade away an E-Switch as well. Do they have an attack option? They do. They have a Reshiram. That's fine. Because what I'll do is I'll promote the Darumaka, because obviously I can, you know, I can do that sort of thing. I can obviously use the Darumaka as free retreat pivot. Watchtower doesn't bother us, because, well, we only use Bear, and so do they. Obviously, we do have the late game option of Bear, but obviously them taking a single prize here is actually kind of good for us. So let's see what we can do about that. Because obviously I'm going to promote Darumaka, bump with Ends Castle, play the Lillies, and see what we get. But first, let's see what we top deck. Well, I will definitely bench that, that's for sure. So we'll do that, and play the Lillies. Ooh, do we get there? No, but we can Fez, which is fine. Fez for 3. That does get us there, so let's Ultra Ball away you and you. Grab ourselves a Zoroark. Because now we can PP up into the Zorua. Evolve to the Zoroark. In fact, no, we don't get there. Because we don't have... Then again, I can just Counter Catcher and hit this one. But then again, that feels kind of bad. But then again, they got rid of the E-Switch, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll get rid of Turo, I think. I'm not going to need Turo, most likely. So I'll attach to the Zoroark. I can Power Glass this one, I guess. Like I said, I can CC this and get hit in, and then potentially finish this off later. So you know what? I think we're going to do that. Because I can potentially finish this off with Munkidori. So then we'll Night Joker, copy Rampage and Thunder for 250. Obviously, I had to bench Fez there, so that's why I wasn't able to go Pech, Bind, and Mochi. And obviously, you know, I'd already played Lillies for turn, so I couldn't Turo. So, that's completely fine. Like I say, if they do hit our Zoroark, not a big deal. But I'm just kind of hoping they don't have the Mochi. They're going to get rid of their castle, that's completely fine. If they're running a similar list to me, that was their only Watchtower, which could be relevant later. Kind of hoping they don't have Mochi or a way to buff their damage. Because obviously they could play Black Belt just like us. Which is highly likely. So they're going to trade. I think they're digging for it, which is annoying. Obviously we only have one Zoroark established right now. They have the Dark Energy. They have the E-Switch. No, they're playing double. Oh, that feels so bad. Even have the Cyrano. Oh, that's so bad for us. I mean, if we do, like, if they do bench a Zorua, we can go Flame Body Cannon. But no, that feels awful. No. Why are you playing double E-Switch? That just feels so rough. Right, well, we'll do the same trick again. We'll promote the Darumaka. There's Dark Energy, so that feels pretty good. I can attach this now. Fez for 3. Yeah, we're whiffing it, Chief. We are whiffing it. Just trying to think what to do here, because I don't have many options. Yeah, I don't really have any options here, I will admit. I can get Bear down, but they can Gust it and kill it with Zekrom. Well, they can get close with Zekrom, and even then, they're killing anything on my board right now with, you know, Night Joker, Copy Power for Rage. Oh boy, that feels rough. Because we can't even knock this out with Scratch, which is rough. Jeez. Whiffing the PP. Oh, in fact, even getting the PP up wouldn't have got me anywhere. Night Stretcher, gonna grab back the monkey. They're gonna get a monkey down, turn attachment. That feels kind of rough. There's a Zorua. Trade, discard. They're digging for a boss, I bet. There's Psyduck. I didn't bother putting that in because it's, yeah, you know, what's his name? Dust Noir can obviously take out Zekrom, but I'm not worried about that. It's not something I need to worry about. We could potentially come back from this. It's not going to be easy, but we could do it. We could potentially come back from this. They're going to move 30 off onto the Darumaka. Are they going to copy Shred? No. So what was the point of that then? I don't know, but that's not my it's not my problem to think about. Let's promote the Zorua. I really want to Iono this hand, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to find my Iono. Okay, first for 3, because we can't thin. Okay, that's good, that's good. But I really want to Iono this hand away. So first of all, I'm going to attach. I'm going to trade away this for reversal, because that's not going to be useful now. I need to find an Iono, and I need it now. So I can trade away one of the Pechas. And we still don't find it. Shite. This is not good, but I need to take out this Zoroark, otherwise I just lose on the spot. Right, well, first of all, retreat into the Zoroark. PP up to the Zoroark. Mochi this Zoroark, because that could be relevant. Bump the stadium for Watchtower, just to make their job a little bit harder. And yeah, we will just Night Joker, but we'll copy Shred. Because we still get the knockout, which is the important thing. But it also means we can use our attacks for next turn. There's one of our Ionos, which I knew was in the prize cards. I might as well put that there because we can E-switch it. But yeah, this feels bad. If they don't have knockout from that hand, I'm concerned. And yep, there's the black belt. Quite unfortunate, but, well, we couldn't get set up. We whiffed on important turns. And, well, they had the damage mods and the setup they needed. So that feels pretty rough. Just unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Still, it does prove my point about this deck. I don't know if it's just me, but it's not felt the most consistent. Like, we whiffed on important stuff. I think me choosing to go a split of Cyrano Ultra Ball could possibly be a reason why. But, you know, like, I've tried a bunch of different Zoroark lists, and, you know, well, the ones with the Zekrom in it, at least. And so far, it's just been a very mixed bag. I don't know if it's just me, but, you know, maybe there's something I need to try with a different list or something. So, what did I think to the deck? I don't think this is a bad deck at all. Like, you know, I think this is going to be a pretty strong deck post-rotation. The problem is that Zoroark is going to have to adapt to a Lucario-focused meta, and I don't know about you, but if Zoroark can barely deal with the likes of, you know, Raging Bolt and things like that, imagine a Pokemon that can just one-shot you without having to discard energy, whereas you have to have a whole lot of stuff just to one-shot a Lucario. And even then, they will play Turos just to reset their effects and stuff, which, you know. As for changes to this deck, I don't think there's a lot you can really do. I'll be brutally honest. It's one of those decks that, on the surface, not a lot needs to go into it, and, you know, maybe an extra copy of Dark Energy would be pretty nice, but I don't think you need it, per se. In terms of other things, maybe, you know, cutting the Darmanitan line, because we didn't even use it once, but at the same time, having the option to Darmanitan is just so broken in some matchups. And, you know, there is a couple of other cards you could consider for this deck, but I think for now, Zoroark needs to take a back seat. Like, I think it's not ready to be a top deck, but once rotation happens, I think this deck will be a lot better, but at the same time, a certain someone over here will be keeping it in check, which, you know, that's just how it's going to be. Same with Dragonite. Like, Dragonite is going to be horrible for Zoroark, because there is literally no way for them to touch it. Like, if they double Adrenabrain, Black Belt Mochi, yeah, you can kill a Dragonite, but that's assuming they leave damage on your board, and, well, I highly doubt that's going to be the case, but I think Zoroark is a really good, like, I would say tier 2 deck once press rotation hits, but for now, I don't think it's a deck I'm going to be losing sleep at night worrying about, because, you know, like, the whole stigma of Zoroark is, you know, be tanky, use Powerful Rage, use the Rampaging Thunder, you know. It's a nice stigma, but when there's a lot of one-hit KO decks in the format that don't give a monkeys about that, kind of loses its value. And obviously with the likes of Pikachu EX, which is pretty tough for you to deal with anyway, getting Light Ball, it does, you know, it does make your Hero Escape less valuable, which, you know, it can potentially be something that could cause an issue. But anyway, I'm going to leave you all to it for today. Really hope you enjoyed seeing End Zoroark with the Zekrom package, and I'll see you next time.